Hey there, my friends. When I was first diagnosed with breast cancer back in 2017, one of the very first things that my surgeon said to me when I met with her was, "You saved your own life because mammograms failed you." Why? Why does this happen? It's actually more common than you might think, but you can help protect yourself from that failure if you know what I didn't back then. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for being here. If we haven't met, I am Rachel. I'm a two-time breast cancer survivor, and I am here to share what I have learned throughout my little detours in life to maybe motivate or educate others who are in the same boat, or possibly, hopefully, help someone avoid that boat altogether. If you like that idea, I'm going to ask a really big favor. Please give the video a like down below, maybe subscribe, leave a comment. Any or all of those tell the YouTube algorithm to share the video with more people, which will increase the likelihood that it reaches the people who might be helped by it somewhere down the road. That was my primary goal in starting this channel in the first place. So I would really appreciate it, and thank you in advance. So why did mammograms fail me? Because I have had dense breast tissue. When I got my first mammogram around the age of 40, they actually really scared me a little bit because they came back and they told me that they needed to do it again. I vividly recall that day. They told me, not a big deal, it's all good. You just have dense tissue, and the radiologist wants to make sure that he has a good baseline for future reference. I was like, whew, I got my second mammogram and I went on my way. Every year after that, I got my mammograms, I was told it was good, and I was off. I always got them on the same day as my annual appointment with my gynecologist. That was just how we scheduled it. He would always tell me at the appointment that everything looked good. He'd ask if I was doing my self-checks, and that would be the end of that part of the discussion. I probably got a follow-up letter or something after that, but I never really paid much attention because we'd already talked about it. He'd already told me everything was fine. I never even asked to see the mammograms. So why does any of this matter? First, we need to talk about what dense tissue is. This is an image from densebreastinfo.org that shows various density levels from almost all fatty tissue to extremely dense. Breasts are made up of fat and glands that are held together by fibrous tissue. Every woman is unique in their tissue makeup. But the more glands and fibrous tissue a woman has, the more dense her breasts are. It's mostly just part of the natural makeup of your body, and it's affected by age and hormones. Dense breasts are perfectly normal. Almost 50% of women over the age of 40 have them. About 40% of those have dense tissue, another 10% have extremely dense tissue. Breast density is not something that you can change or even tell on your own. You can't tell by look or feel. The only way to know for sure how dense the girls are is through a mammogram. So what's the big deal? Why should you care if your tissue is dense? Well, because although it's perfectly normal, dense tissue shows up as white on a mammogram. The more white you see, the more dense the tissue. The problem comes in, breast cancer also shows up as white on a mammogram, making it more difficult to detect in women with dense tissue. A radiologist that I spoke to at my very first biopsy likened it to finding a snowball in a blizzard. Women with dense tissue can be at a 4 to 6 times higher risk of being diagnosed with breast cancer. The higher the density, the higher the risk. So hear what I am saying to you. Not only are women with dense breasts at higher risk for breast cancer, but that cancer can be hidden or missed by a mammogram until it's larger or possibly has spread. This is an image showing my diagnostic mammogram from 2017 and for the 4 years prior to that discovery. Yes, now I see a difference in some of these, but I have the benefit of hindsight, and also I'm not a radiologist. Keep in mind that 2017 mammogram is hiding an approximately 7 centimeter in situ mass and an over 2 centimeter tumor in the lower quadrant, and another at the top. I knew my tissue was dense. What I did not know was the implications of that. It was never explained to me, and I never asked. I always figured if there was an issue or a threat, I'd be told about it. I never asked for any additional screening because I didn't even know it was an option. It was never offered to me either, or even suggested that I might want it. Please do not make that mistake. Ask. Talk about it. Ask for additional screening if you're told your tissue is dense. Currently in the U.S., only 38 states have notification requirements for patients with dense tissue. And just under half of the states in the U.S. now have laws that require insurance to cover additional screening beyond mammograms when dense tissue is detected. It's not really a lot. Not all state laws even require a patient to be informed about their own density. They just have to be given general info about breast density. And even in those states where insurance is required to cover that additional screening, there are exemptions to state mandates like Medicare or national insurance plans or private insurance. As of right now, supplemental or additional screening for dense breasts is not the standard of care, so not all health insurance companies even offer coverage. But that additional testing will likely be covered if it is ordered by a physician, with the exception of copays and deductibles. So this is why you have to have a discussion with your doctor. Right now, here in the US, there is no nationwide standard on what patients are told about their density. However, in March of 2023, the FDA published a ruling stating that mammogram reports sent to patients nationwide must include whether tissue is dense or not and what the implications are. But that ruling does not go into effect until September of 2024. If you are told your tissue is dense, please discuss the risks and the ramifications with your doctor. Tell them you want additional screening. The coverage may depend on the laws in your state or your country, but in many cases, your doctor is going to be your very best chance of getting it covered. This is why you have to be your own advocate. Your doctor likely isn't going to just order additional screening because, again, it is not the standard of care here in the US. You have to stand up for yourself and ask for what you need. Do not feel silly. Don't feel like you're being a bother. Don't think it's not a big deal. It's not going to happen to me. Don't be swayed by, oh, your risk is low. It's not necessary. It could save your life. I was told beforehand that my lifetime risk of breast cancer was around 4%. It literally can happen to anyone. Early detection does save lives. That does not just apply to people who don't have dense tissue. This is why it's so important for you to know the facts and to advocate for yourself. Get your screenings. Know your rights. There's the great website I mentioned earlier, and I'll link it below, densebreastinfo.org, that shows your rights by state. It shows European countries as well. Please be vigilant and advocate for yourself. I cannot stress enough that it could save your life. And it's much better to be safe than sorry. So tell me, do you know if you have dense tissue? If you do, have you ever been offered additional screening? Did you have to ask for it? Let me know in the comments because I'm curious. Okay, that is it for me today. I really hope that you found this helpful. This is important stuff. It affects half of all women. So please share the info with the women you care about to make sure that they know. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. As always, in the meantime, take care of you. Bye-bye.